Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here at Good Teams Win. Great teams cover. The Wanderer has returned and is in the driving seat for our NFL Week 15 preview. Byron Joe, you did an excellent job of the Week 14 review. Thoroughly enjoyed listening to that on my train journey up to Glasgow for work. How are you both doing? And I'm sure it's not a pleasure to have me back.
You're quite right. But yeah, glad you are back, safe and sound. Kidneys intact, just about. Yeah, good. Another fun, big. It's a really good Sunday this week of matches. So looking forward to previewing it and looking forward to watching it.
Excellent. Joe, how are you feeling heading into Week 15?
Yeah, exciting. Obviously, yeah, I know it's crazy, but the buys have done. No more buys the rest of the season, so it's a full slate going forward the next 4, and hopefully get rid of some teams who have got outside chance of getting the playoffs, and let's focus on them ones who are close in. So it's a really exciting week where, yeah, looking forward to the good teams being great and heading into the playoffs for some good matchups.
Good teams being great and covering. I felt that was a bit unnecessary, that Byron, wasn't it?
Felt like a personal attack, I will say. Not everyone gets to play the 49ers fucking schedule, mate. We can all be 9-7 if we play the junior varsity schedule.
Speaking of which, let's get into our Sky Sports early game, because it's another team that might have a junior varsity schedule that are hosting this one, and have got the opportunity to clinch their division. It's the Bills on the road at the New England Patriots. The Bills are 1-point favourites for this one, so pretty much a pick 'em. Over-under is 49.5. Time for Drake May's coronation, or can the Bills delay it? Coming off the bye on a 10-game win streak, did the Pats secure the East, or does Josh Allen go full Superman to keep his division winning streak alive? It's a hats and t-shirts game potentially for the Patriots. They clinch the AFC East with a win. That'll put them up 3 with 3 to play and having the tiebreaker over the Bills. The Bills win though, and it's back to 1 game with 3 weeks to go. To make it a pretty exciting finish. How are we seeing this one? Patriots off a bye and flying, and the Bills off the back of a big win against the Bengals.
Great matchup. Yeah, great start to the... Obviously, we've got Thursday night football, but great start to the Sunday watching slate. I'm kind of surprised the Bills are favoured in New England. You know, New England already beat them in Buffalo. And New England are coming off the bye. A little bit of rest. I'm very interested to see what Trevian Henderson's workload is like, you know. When Ramondre was out, he finally became like the big dog bomb like we expected him to. As soon as Ramondre's back in, you know, it's 50 touches from the goal line, and Terrell Jennings gets more than Trevian. So interesting to see how that goes, because again, I think the weakness of that Bills defense is the run game. And I think in that situation, you want a home run hitter, not a Ramondre Stevenson who's going to get you 5 yards, maybe a carry, which is fine. But I mean, that's on the high end. Trevian can score from anywhere on the field, and I think you have to take advantage of that in this kind of matchup. That I think the over-under, like you said, is 49.5. I think it's fairly reasonable expectation. There's going to be a lot of points here. Josh Allen might try and get it done by himself, and it's Josh Allen. He'll probably come pretty close regardless of how the actual final score ends. So, yeah, can't wait for this one.
Excellent. Joe, how are you seeing this AFC East matchup going?
Yeah, I think the numbers flipped back and forth between who's favourite and underdog, I think, the last couple of days, and it makes sense. I'm probably in the Bills. Just it's one of them stupid where it feels like they should go 1-1 against each other. It feels like they should equal itself up. I don't think the Patriots. I think the obviously they've been great, but I don't think they're head and shoulders above this Bills team, because you look at the last game where they beat the Bills by 23-20. The Bills fumbled it twice, and also an interception as well, and Drake May played perfect. So I think they need something similar again where. May doesn't make any turnovers, which the Bills have managed to get some the last few games, and Josh Allen does Josh Allen stuff. I think last week was one of the best performances of the year from a quarterback standpoint, and I feel like because it feels like such more of a bigger game this week. I think like the first Patriots game, it was like, okay, the Bills are going to win this comfortably, and they would have won the AFC East by week 12 or week 13. But now it's like, okay, the Bills have to win. And I think having that doubt, for some reason, the Bills step up in that sense. So I'm leaning the Bills. I think it's going to be a close one. I think, one of the key people who could be, in this game could be... Revenge Game. is obviously Stefan Diggs with his revenge game again. Last time he got 10 catches, 146 yards. He certainly made it a point to rub it into the Bills fans. So I wonder if he wants that kind of game again this week. Because even though he's had a good year, it may have had like some decent games, but it doesn't seem to have like as big of games the last few weeks. So I think that this is again for him to step up. And like Byron said, that it's all what can the Patriots actually run on this Bills team? Because their running game's been a bit up and down. And if you can't run on the Bills, like who are you going to be able to run on? Because you have to lean on that in the playoffs, especially when it's getting this cold weather time.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I've gone the Bills on the ATS. I'm hoping it flips by the time we get kind of towards Sunday, and I'm just going to take like Bills money line at a slightly better price. Hopefully, I get even money rather than 5 to 6. It's 5 to 6. I'll have to take the -1 at 10 to 11. So that's kind of the plan. Let's flip over to the bets. But for now, I would bet opposite to you, Byron. I think this might be a bit of a struggle again, like the first game was. I'm going to go under 49.5 on this one. I do fancy the Bills, but I just think this is going to be tight, nervy game. Patriots trying to get over the line and give themselves, obviously, then push to the #1 seed, and the Bills bit of desperation. So I'm going to go under 49.5 on this one. Byron, what have you got?
I'll just go on Khalil Shakir anytime touchdown, 3-1. Scored last week. He's only got 4 on the season, but I think he had a bit of the middle of the season where he wasn't fully fit. So I think coming back into full fitness, having Dalton Kincaid back in there opens things up a little more for Shakir. And I think he's largely Josh Allen's go-to guy. So I think in a matchup like this where I think there will be points, even if it doesn't get to 50, I can still get it 46, 47. Shakir anytime at 3-1 for me.
You can have 49 if you want, Byron. You shouldn't have him 50.
Cheers, mate.
And just, sorry, before you flip, Joe, only one of the few stats I've pulled this week, I've not gone heavy. Under is 5-1 in Bills road games this season. So the shootouts haven't been on the road for the Bills. Joe?
Yeah, talk about the man himself. Stefan Diggs, anytime touchdown score at 3-2. He's only got 3 touchdowns this year, which might sound surprising. He had a 3-game stretch with a touchdown in each, and he hasn't in the last 3. But I feel like they might try and target him this game just with the ego, the pomp, just everything around it. I think they're going to try and certainly target him, and he's certainly going to want a touchdown against his old team, the Buffalo Bills, and help his team get that AFC East title.
Excellent. Good stuff. Right, let's flip to the Sky Sports late game. Another great game here. Great selection this week. The Sky Sports late game, it's the Lions, a 6-point underdogs. That feels like a big number. At the LA Rams, over-under is 55. The Lions head to Hollywood with playoff plot twists to come. Detroit will need to show more than pride to motor to victory versus #1 seed. Stafford versus Goff, sure to top the bill, but who will be the leading man? What do we make? Is that new? Have we got a new sound effect there, Joe?
I have no idea what's happening with everything right now. I think he's freezing, but it's a double revenge game. Obviously, it feels like these two teams play against each other quite a lot. With Stafford and Goff, it feels like we've talked about this quite a lot of times, where it's like, they're playing against the old teams, the revenge game, and so on. So it feels like Stafford's been on top, and with how this season's going, it feels like the Rams should win this, and I would say fairly easily, but the Lions need this massively. At 8-5, if they drop another game with the games they've got coming up, they can't keep losing, especially with how the NFC playoff picture's looking. So I think this is a huge game for them. I've lent the Lions on the spread at +6. I feel like +6 is quite a lot. I think they're going to keep it a tight game, but I'm not quite sure if they're going to win this game, just because, again, the Rams, when they turn it on offense, they just score at will, especially with what they've got in attacking wise, and they just feel like an overall just a great team. Defense, special teams is finally showing up. They've got the thicker kicker is actually is helped that situation, and their offense as well. It's a flip of what the Lions were probably a year or two ago, when we were saying like, this team is a complete team. It's flipped where the Rams are that team now.
Yeah, I think probably what I was flipping in terms of going Lions Rams, just flip flopping on the ATS. I think ultimately what made me go, the Rams. I just think the Lions getting in that situation again where the bodies on defense just aren't there. They've just feels like Brian Branch went down during the Cowboys game last week. Achilles, he's done. it just feels like they're struggling. You know, I know it was last week, but they lost Terry and Arnold. You know, recently Brian Branch. It's just how often can you just go for it? And against this Rams, with all the different ways the Rams can hurt you, you need your best guys out there. I think Kirby Joseph potentially might. I don't know if he's going to be playing as well, and it just feels a struggle. And then also they're still struggling on the O-line, and the Rams do not give you a moment's peace. That defensive front. So I just think ultimately the combination of those two things are going to be enough for the Rams to win this relatively comfortably. I agree 6 is a lot, but I think the Rams can cover it in this one. Byron, how are you seeing things?
Yeah, very similar. I'm glad you mentioned Brian Branch because that was going to be my lead-off point, really. And that's why I've ended up siding with the Rams. I just think Stafford and that passing offense is just going to be too much, I think, for Detroit ultimately. 6 points again, like you say, it is a lot, but I think it is also a game that could get away from Detroit. Blake Corum's been coming on really strong the last few weeks, actually having like a 1-2 combination with Kyron Williams. And I just totally agree. I think it's just ultimately the bodies get away from Detroit in the end. And maybe not necessarily one season too many. They had this at the end of last season. It's just luck's not there for them this year. Last year they had such a lead in the division they could withstand it a little, but I think this year it's just too much for them.
Yeah, too much overcome. Quick stat for you, and I think Byron, you've got a little number one for us, but obviously over/under is 55, so big number. Since 2023, or the start of 2023, 6 games in the NFL have closed at a total of 55 or more. The over is 5-1 in those 6 games. So not always the case when we get these totals over 50, but recent years when it's got to that high end of 55 plus, they seem to hit the over. Just one to think about. But 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two have hit the under. So
Rams are the home team this year, 1-5 over. Which to me is very surprising because it feels like they should go over every week, but only once in 6 home games this season.
Yeah. Excellent. Let's have a flip over to... do you want to do number one first, Byron?
Sure, let's go. Yeah.
Sorry.
I can also do my bet at the same time. Last time Detroit won on the road to the Rams, I don't know if it was in LA, I must say, but it was October 24, 1993. Joe was not born?
I'm a 91, baby. So
you do this every time.
He makes me young every single time.
96, and I don't know where it's from,
I wish.
and I don't know why it won't stick. Yeah, no, tell me about it. October 24, 93. Paul, you were probably just finishing high school, right? Joe was just born. What was the UK number one?
Number 1.
All the slander. I forgot the date. It's October 93, sorry, yeah?
Yeah.
Give me...
Australia. It was number 1 in UK and Australia, and it reached number 1, this song, in 28 countries, so it's a banger.
28 countries?
That's what it says on thisdayinmusic.com. And I'm not doubting them.
I'm sure not. What was like absolutely massive? I don't think it's Brian Adams is 91 in it, so I think we'll rule that one out when we always bring
the year Joe was born famously.
Yeah, Joe was born famously.
And we always talk about Bodyguard, so it can't be that again.
You can't have pulled that up again. 93.
In my head, I'd Mr. Blobby because I'm sure that was like round number 93 as well. But
that was
28 countries.
Christmas number 1. You actually got that first time when I asked that once before.
Yeah. Christmas.
Probably was 93 though.
October.
28 countries. I'm trying to think of Michael Jackson. Could it be him?
No, but it is a male solo artist. I'll give you that.
Oh. Is it Seal, Kiss from a Rose?
It's not, but that's a really good shout, I feel.
That's a little bit late when Batman came out, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was Batman Forever.
Yeah, it was Batman, yeah, you're right.
Batman Forever. It's been like maybe 95, 96.
I'll give you some other facts while you're thinking, Joe. In the US and Canada, Mariah Carey Dream Lover was number 1. And in Germany, memeable song right now, the viral sensation, What's Up by the 4 Non-Blondes was number 1. But yeah, in the UK and Australia, it was a real banger. I don't know how else to give you any kind of clue.
I have no idea, to be honest, yeah. Nothing's coming.
Well, Dan Campbell and the guys would do anything for a win, but would they do that? Might be your clue.
Oh, Meatloaf.
You know what? I was going to say Meatloaf as well, but I thought it can't be Meatloaf in 93. Surely not.
Yes. The first single from Bat Out of Hell 2. Number 1 in 28 countries. What a guy.
Yeah, what a banger! You were correct. We'll flip over to the bets anyway. I think I'm a bit late on this. I think I've missed the boat on Colby Parkinson, but he's got 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Obviously, they run. I hope that was a shaking head of support, Byron. There, absolutely, yeah. Just we talked about how they run these 3 tight end sets. So yeah, I'm sure they're still going to continue to do it. I just hope I've not missed the touchdown run from Colby Parkinson. 9-4. I'm just I don't know. I'm not confident enough to lay the Rams in the 6. And the total, I'm just not sure about either, despite the stats that we've shared. So weirdly for me, at the minute, I'm not on a side or a total for one of these main games. Very rare that happens. But yeah, Colby Parkinson, anytime touchdown for me.
And yeah, I think good shot to get at least one. I like Colby Parkinson this week. I was definitely shaking my head in agreement. Yeah, I don't think you have missed the boat. You may have missed a good price. 9-4 is obviously a lot shorter than he was 5 weeks ago, but a winning bet. I like Matthew Stafford to throw at least 4 touchdowns this week at 5-2. And Matthew Stafford will be desperate for a win because he currently has a 1-2 record against Detroit, so he'll be eager to even that out. And yeah, I think at least one of them goes to Colby Parkinson and 2 or 3 probably to Devontae Adams because he's always open at the goal line. So yeah, 4 or more for Matthew Stafford for me at 5-2.
Joe.
Yeah, I've got Puka and Devontae both to get touchdowns at 2-1. It was one of them that I was going to choose just Devontae Adams anytime, but you don't get amazing price, unsurprisingly, with how many he's got. And I think he's probably more of a chance they get 1 each rather than one of them get 2. So I've gone for both of them. Puka's just absolutely on the barnstorm. I think we've talked about JSN a lot this year, but Puka certainly got a shout to be the best wide receiver because some of the catches he's making this have been crazy, just like crazy good. And he's certainly showing his value. And yeah, Devontae just is a touchdown machine. So I'm guessing he's loving life after having 2 stops in Raiders and Jets. Finally at a fun, exciting, good team. So yeah, both of them to get a touchdown at 2-1.
Yeah, they've got 20 receiving touchdowns between them so far, Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. So they split heavily towards Devontae Adams. He's 5 clear of the next. There's 3 that are tied on 9 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah. And he started so slow as well. Like, start of the year, we were all talking about Stafford's forcing it to him in the end zone. It's not quite working. What's going on? And then, like you said, 5 ahead now.
Excellent. Cool. Right. That's the Sky Sports late game. On Sunday Night Football, then the game with 2 really good games. Now it starts to get a bit iffy. The Minnesota Vikings plus 5.5-point underdogs on the road to the Dallas Cowboys. Over-unders 47.5. Vikings look to lasso last of the Cowboys' playoff hopes. 31-point winners last week. Can Minnesota give another NFC East team a Viking funeral? And can Dallas bounce back from being tamed by the Lions? The 5-8 Vikings against the 6-1 Cowboys on week 15 of Sunday Night Football. Like I said, if it wasn't the Cowboys, this game would have got flexed out. Without, 100%. It's a shame on the NFL for not doing so. I feel like we've not hit the flexes. Like they've just not utilised them really. Yeah, no. Shame. Anyway, so do we think can JJ McCarthy kind of build on his performance from last week? Obviously, where he looked like a relatively competent NFL quarterback after his little break, or do we think he comes bouncing back down to earth against the Cowboys?
My lean would be he's more down to earth than he was last week, but I find the JJ McCarthy thing so hard to predict, truthfully. When he stays in rhythm and he stays on schedule, he's great. He's maybe a stretch, but he's good, he's competent, he looks fine. And then when you get past them first 15 plays and you get into the second, third, fourth quarter, his EPS seems to go down by the quarter. I'm not sure if that's accurate after last week, but it certainly was going into last week. I want to see him put a run of games together and just not be shocking in any of them. Like anything, just like a flat line is fine. I really don't know what we're going to get from him. Darius Saw being back last week, I think was a big help at left tackle. I think it'll be a big help this week as well if he's still fit and ready to go. The offense is kind of too good to really fall so flat unless it is a Max Brosman type performance. But Dallas, again, crucially, don't have that Seattle front. The front is better than it has been, but it's not scary. So I think he'll probably be fine. I think Dallas win the game, and I think Dallas cover, though.
Yeah, Cowboys should be boosted by Jadeveon Clowney returning. He's been at least limited in practice the last couple of days. Also, Tyler Guyton should be back, the left tackle, which, even though his performances haven't been great, should help. CD Lamb should be back in full practice, so the mini buys helped him from a cover from his nasty concussion. So, yeah, we'll see. Cowboys, weirdly, the Cowboys aren't dead, and they're only not dead because the Eagles are going through full meltdown. After losing again on Monday night. I was kind of expecting the Eagles I kind of thought maybe the Eagles will take care of business Monday night and just close the door. But they haven't. So the Cowboys need to win out. They'll get to 10-6-1. Can the Eagles lose 2 games? Yeah, it feels like they can lose every game at the minute. I'm sure we'll touch on the Eagles later on. I'm not convinced Dallas cover. I think they got a 44-30 looks a lot closer than that game was, I think, for me last week. I think they got a real beating last week against the Lions, and the score looks a little bit closer than it felt. And just maybe that's one beating too many, and I just don't know if they'll be able to come back. I didn't understand the, and I know you guys probably touched on it on the review. Sorry, you did. I just don't understand why they changed from they were pressuring Goff early, and it was working, and then they just stopped, and I just don't understand why.
I think, to be fair, Goff just went to a three-step, and the ball was out instantly.
Yeah.
And I think, therefore, Dallas then stopped pressuring him because they couldn't get to him.
Yeah.
I think it was a good adoption from the Lions' offense in general. But, yeah, it was frustrating to see.
Yeah. Cool.
A bit like, we slagged the... Sorry.
No, go on, you're right.
No, I was going to say, we slagged the Eagles off for not being able to adapt to Dallas's 5 D-line front a few weeks ago. Well, Dallas didn't adapt to Goff adapting to them this week. And I think it is just a limited defense. Kenneth Murray's still out there getting snaps, and every week I see on Twitter, just why is Kenneth Murray still out there? And I kind of have the same queries, but it's funny reading it every week because I do not understand it.
It feels crazy because obviously they made the trade for Logan Wilson and they don't need him to be out there. Anyway, just a quick start on this one. So when I've looked at again just the history of the game, especially in Dallas, the Vikings are 6-1 straight up all time. Oh no, sorry, 6-1 all-time ATS in Dallas. Apologies. Yes,
I did have it up.
6-1 all-time ATS in Dallas. So been pretty good. And if you're getting 5.5, feels like the play. Oh, I've lent the Vikings ATS. Cowboys win. Vikings cover. Right, bets. Again, this is not what I particularly feel great about, a side or a total. So copped out 2 games in a row. Not like me. I'm expecting bounce back from George Pickens. And this is just more betting on the person himself. Copped a lot of stick last week. Is accused of going missing, lack of effort. I think ultimately the Lions just, once CD Lamb went out, just said Pickens isn't beating us. And that was that. Obviously, the clips didn't look great. The one thing where the ball, Dak throws it's a little bit short maybe, and it's half a yard. And he just doesn't seem to make an effort. But I think he'll put some of the noise away this week. Pickens 100+ receiving yards and a touchdown for me at 5-1. Byron, I think you're expecting the same.
Copy, paste. George Pickens 2 touchdowns for me, 6-1. Bounce back spot, yada, yada, yada. Exactly what Paul just said. I didn't know we had the same bets, essentially. 2+ touchdowns, George Pickens, 6-1. Joe, you got George Pickens hat-trick?
No, you know what? I was going to go George Pickens one as well, but I saw you two had it on there, so I couldn't really go for it. But I love that bet as well. I think, and I didn't give much 2 cents to the game in terms of, but I think the Vikings have got a similar issue to the Cowboys, that it's the second cornerback is the issue. So I think Byron Murphy will probably cover Lamb, and then you've got George Pickens on the weakling. So my bet is I've got JJ McCarthy 30+ rush yards at 11-5. Normally it's for like 10 to 20 most games, but I think with that Cowboys front, they're certainly going to pressure him because Cowboys are how their defense is. They've got a great front, but they've just got to tell. I don't think the back seven is just not great. So I think there could be some opportunities for him to scramble and gain that 30+ yards at 11-5 to keep that close. So we'll see how he does it on. And it's on turf, it's indoors, so it's gonna be a nice little
fast track.
Exactly, a fast track for him. So 30+ yards for JJ McCarthy, 11-5. But everyone go for George Pickens because that's why I would have won as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you've not gone for a George Pickens bet, just on the basis of every time we're all on the same thing. It's you could have just put them on red on the sheet instantly after the recording.
So that's why I think for the Rams-Lions game, heavy Blake Corum touchdowns, heavy Kyron Williams touchdowns. Stafford's going to throw 4 picks. Nothing's happening on the passing game.
Excellent. Right, Monday Night Football, time for our guest. We've got the wonderful Jimmy English joining us from Gaelic Gridiron. Great to chat with Jimmy, a Steelers fan, as well as covering the NFL for Gaelic Gridiron. He's been here, there, and everywhere. Been doing a great job. So we catch up with Jimmy, preview the Steelers Dolphins, and also Jimmy's going to take on our fourfold challenge. Joining us to preview the Week 15 Monday Night Football, we've got friend of the show and returning guest, Jimmy English is back. Jimmy from Gaelic Gridiron, pleasure to see you, mate. How are you doing? And welcome back to the show.
Paul, always a pleasure to be here with you. Like you were saying before we jumped on, it feels like ages since we actually caught up. I think it was before the Dublin game, which now is almost 3 months ago, if you can believe. It's been such a whirlwind season, such a hectic season since then at the start of the season. So delighted to be here with you as always, and hopefully I'll be able to keep it positive about the Steelers this time around. You never know what I'm going to come out with, to be honest with you. But look, as always a pleasure and delighted to be here, Paul. Cheers.
Excellent. You mentioned that it's been, like I say, that probably the biggest season certainly for NFL from an Ireland perspective. Obviously, the game week 4, and it feels that's madness, isn't it? It was week 4. It feels like a lifetime ago. But kind of how has it been? I suppose just from your perspective, obviously being there and covering the game in Ireland, how has it been kind of since the game in week 4? What's the kind of momentum been off the back of kind of having that game at Croke Park?
I think that was a kind of, obviously, and this has been talked about so much, but that game in Croke Park, I think, was a kind of turning point for the growth of the game here in Ireland. It was such a momentous occasion, and the fact that it went off so seamlessly as well, there wasn't really a hitch. I don't think anyone really expected it to go as well. And I remember talking to a friend of mine who works for the GAA, who obviously they run Croke Park, outside the stadium before the game, and he was telling me how the NFL had brought their own PA system with them because they didn't think Croke Park was going to be good enough. But if you were down on the sideline before the game, it was deafening. There was such a good atmosphere in that place. So I think Dublin and NFL fans in Ireland have gave such a good account of themselves to the league that there's no doubt in my mind that the NFL will be back in Dublin at some stage in the future. Whether that's next year, whether it's 2027, it's kind of hard to know. That's still kind of up in the air. We saw today that they're going back to Munich in 26 and 28, which is great. I mean, the games in Munich are always a good time. But I think having that game and the kind of the wider growth of popularity around kind of mainland Europe is it's really kind of taken off. And then obviously the whole thing with Charlie Smith as well, which we'll talk about as well. That's just taken it to a new level because it's opened the game up to people who mightn't necessarily have been familiar with it before. GAA fans, people who aren't necessarily kind of tuned into the league. So I think it's been a huge year for the growth here in Ireland, and I think it's only going to get better, right? The only way is there's no way it goes back down after the year we've had here.
Yeah, it just feels like, again, just for every sort of moment, and whether it's Dan Whelan's having a great season with the Packers as well, possible Pro Bowl, I think.
He's fourth in the voting right now. I checked earlier on my way home. There's every chance he could actually be playing in the Super Bowl. But if he doesn't make the Super Bowl, there's every chance he could be a Pro Bowler, Ireland's first ever Pro Bowler, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and sort of see, Dan's been going through his journey with the Packers for the last number of years. Charlie's journey a little bit different. We've seen him play the last couple of weeks. Bit of a different journey for Charlie. Obviously not going necessarily through that the same route, but his performances the last couple of weeks for the New Orleans Saints have been, he's gone in and done the business the last couple of weeks. Bit of a different week, I think, this for Charlie. And again, this is some of the intricacies of what the international players have to go through from an IPP perspective. What maybe help us understand that a little bit, Jimmy, in terms of maybe the guys that don't know how the IPP works. He's going to be elevated to the team for the 3rd week, which is the final time he can be elevated, but not be kept. So I suppose what's the key this week for Charlie?
Absolutely. I mean, Charlie, this is actually Charlie's first home game for the Saints, which is mad. He's played 2 games in the NFL and he still hasn't played in the Superdome in New Orleans. So that's going to be a great occasion for him to actually get to play in front of his home fans. And I remember just seeing the reaction online after his first game and saying the Saints fans kind of going, "Where the hell has this fella been? Where's he been hiding? We might have won more than 3 games if Charlie had been starting." But like just to come in for your first ever NFL kick, effectively cold off the bench, because all he'd done to that point against the Dolphins was kick off twice, potentially even once actually, I think. And then he absolutely drains a 56-yard field goal, which would have been good from 65, 66 yards. He had room to spare. I mean, that was just such a welcome to the NFL moment. And he was talking about how he says he blacked out after kicking that. He was just so happy that he had done it. So there was such a huge buzz around that, and then potentially higher expectations then for the game last week against the Buccaneers. Unfortunately, he missed his first kick, 48 yards. It was bound to happen. Not ideal, but it's part of the learning curve. And I know Saints coach Kellen Moore was talking in his post-game press conference about Charlie facing adversity. Now he has that bit of adversity which every kicker has to go through, right? So he comes on, he nails his second field goal attempt, 31 yards. He makes all his extra points, so it's all good. Now this week they're playing the Panthers. Charlie, obviously, as a practice squad player, reverts back to the practice squad after every game when he's elevated. So the Saints are activating him again, and they will probably do that Friday or Saturday. This is the last time they can actually activate him. There's a maximum time that practice squad players can be elevated. It's 3 times before that player has to be signed to the active roster. So there's 2 scenarios. Either Charlie comes in and hopefully does a really good job against the Panthers, doesn't give the Saints any excuse not to retain him, and then gets signed to the active roster. Or, and I only found out about this during the week, the Saints can actually waive him and they'll reset the process. But the problem is if Charlie goes to waivers, he can be picked up by any other kicker needy team. So the dilemma for the Saints is, at this stage of the season, right, he's done a good enough job, I think, to warrant that starting position. There's 5 weeks left in the NFL, 4 weeks left in the season. There's no real risk for the Saints to keeping Charlie on at this point. Make him your starting kicker for the rest of the season, see how he deals with that, and then I suppose reevaluate in the offseason. But Charlie, every week that Charlie now goes in and kicks, it's an audition for a starting job. And obviously you mentioned Dan Whelan there. Dan he had the added advantage of having punted in college for UC Davis. He grew up in California. He punted in high school, so a lot more reps there for Dan in his position. Whereas Charlie's only been doing this for less than 2 years, 18 months effectively. Is when he started kicking an NFL ball. So to get from that point to this point is such a fantastic achievement. But I think we can expect to see a lot more from Charlie, whether it's with the Saints or elsewhere. Based on what he's done so far, he definitely warrants a starting job in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. And like he's put in such a hard amount of work. He's taken every opportunity that's come his way, I think, and it's just been great seeing him out there. And just the pictures and the support for be back in Mailbridge and the pub going wild when he was kicking, and he even seen his mum and dad go out to Miami a couple of weeks ago was
that was very special to see. Me having the tricolor fly there in Hard Rock Stadium. It's just, you have to love the story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was great seeing his mum and dad. I saw an interview with his dad as well, and just seemed like a great family, great people. And yeah, best of luck to Charlie. Fingers crossed, obviously, he gets the opportunity the rest of the way, and yeah, makes it count. And hopefully we see him there next season for all 17 games, which would be nice. Jimmy, you've been a busy man, as we've sort of touched on with everything that's been going on with Ireland. So just give us in Ireland with the NFL. Give us a sort of a bit of flavour what you've been up to with Gaelic Gridiron, what you've been covering, and what's to come over the next few months.
Yeah, bit like yourself, Paul. Flat out, week in, week out with the podcast, the NFL podcast. And obviously you guys are doing a great job. So I appreciate you having me on and giving me the chance to plug it. But I suppose, just kind of trying to ride the wave of momentum that the Irish game generated, and doing our weekly NFL podcast. Obviously, we've a couple of more guys who have come on board now in Gaelic Gridiron, so that's great. And we have different segments every week, kind of regular segments, and trying to just basically just using that kind of wave of growth that the league has experienced here to just drive on and continue on. I mean, the mission has always been to promote popularity of American football in Ireland and to drive the growth of the game. And I think while we have certainly reached a milestone and that there's still a lot more we can do, there's still a lot more there. Now you kind of have that additional interest in it. You know, you have interest in it from people who mightn't necessarily have, you know, been interested before. So look, I think it's finally a great time to be involved in American football in Ireland. We're finally seeing the fruits of our labor. So obviously, you know, it started off in week 4 with the game in Croke Park, which basically has just ruined every NFL game that I've ever been to, because I don't think it'll ever be the same as that first one in Dublin, to be honest with you. It's such a special day. You still kind of dream about it. But I suppose since then we have I think for me it's kind of about, you know, going to as many games as possible and bringing people closer to the action, you know, who might be sitting at home watching the games or might have a passing interest in the game, and being able to kind of give them access to what a game day experience is like. So we had the games in London, got to go to two games in Tottenham, which weren't fantastic, to be honest with you. They were quite dull affairs, particularly that Broncos Jets game back in October. It's 4 hours of my life I'll never get back. Yeah, we were in Germany as well. We had one of the guys covering the Munich game. Sorry, the Berlin game, the Colts and Falcons there in Munich, which was a fantastic game for his first game to get to cover. So, and then obviously Madrid, a great occasion there in Madrid. We were in the stands in the press box for the Dolphins game, there against the Commanders. Not so great game, but an exciting finish, overtime there in Madrid. So first ever NFL game in Spain. So yeah, I suppose like just trying to, you know, grow our output week on week and month on month and season by season. And we have applied for Santa Clara for the Super Bowl 60. So fingers crossed. Yeah, it could well be Christmas week before we hear back with news on that. It typically is late December. So if we are approved, hopefully if we're approved, we'll be flying out to, the flights are booked, the hotel's booked. So one way or another, we're going to be in San Francisco for the week of the game. Whether or not we're actually officially in an official capacity, there remains to be seen. But I am optimistic, and one way or another, we will be in Levi Stadium come February 9th. So excited for that. And then as far as next year, yeah, it's just a case of, you know, trying to build again on the momentum and all the good work we've done and take it to the next level. And just trying to kind of branch out and maybe do some live shows and live podcasts and different things. So so far so good, and it's been a very, very busy year. So I'm looking forward to a few weeks off come February.
Excellent. Well, make sure you go follow Gaelic Gridiron, give Jimmy and the guys all your support, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you on Radio Row. Jimmy, come.
Hopefully that's the plan. That is the plan.
That would be awesome. And well, I suppose we're still yet to see if your Pittsburgh Steelers are going to make it to Santa Clara. It's been an up and down journey through 15 weeks or 14 weeks of the season. How do you kind of assess how it's gone from the Steelers? Because we talked to you last in the summer around your expectations for how it was going to be. How has it been kind of from your perspective for these first 14 weeks for the Steelers?
You know, it's probably gone as well as it could have gone, to be honest with you. Like a complete roller coaster season. 7-6, somehow clinging on to the lead in the AFC North. Could have been better, could have been worse. You know, some good moments, some not so good moments. Some very, very close wins where this kind of the seat of our pants. I think the organization as a whole they're a bit stale at the minute. You know, you have the highest paid defense in the league, and they're giving up, you know, 200 yards of rushing per game at this stage, which is just not acceptable. And, you know, there's definitely some age in the defense there as well, which has been addressed to a certain extent. But look, winning fixes everything, doesn't it? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, people were calling for Mike Tomlin's head in a platter. You know, there was chance of fire Tom when the Bills steamrolled the Steelers in Acrisure Stadium. And then they come out and they beat the Ravens, and they're in the lead for the AFC North. So you just never know what kind of Steelers outfit you're going to get on any given Sunday. And I was actually in Acrisure Stadium. I went back to Pittsburgh this year for the Colts game, which nobody thought we were going to beat the Colts considering the form they were in. And it was one of the Steelers' best games of the season, and defensively anyway, at least. Offense, like, you know, they scored enough points to win. But in that case, the Steelers the defense shut down Jonathan Taylor. To their credit, they didn't give Daniel Jones any room to operate. So that was probably one of the best games of the season for the Steelers, bar the game against the Ravens last week, which was probably Aaron Rodgers' best game in the black and gold. If I'm being honest, I mean, vintage Rodgers with the rushing touchdown and the discount double check. Didn't give up a single sack. You know, he stepped out of trouble when he needed to. I would like to see more. You know, we have two very talented running backs in Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, and Kenneth Gainwell's primarily been used as a second receiver this year, which, you know, doesn't really reflect well on the rest of our receivers. If you think about it, that we have a running back wearing a receiver's number, playing, you know, outgaining you in receiving touchdowns. But look, 7-6, 4 weeks left. Some very, very winnable games. The game against the Dolphins, obviously Monday Night Football. That's a trap game as far as I'm concerned. That's a huge, huge trap game for us. Historically, the Steelers are known to play down to bad teams, but the Dolphins have had a bit of a resurgence. You know, they're coming in a 4-game winning streak. They've one of the best running backs in the league. So look, it could honestly go anyway, but, you know, with regards to the coaching situation and Mike Tomlin, you know, the Steelers have to trigger his 2027 option by March 1st, 2026. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. And like I've been been talking to Steelers fans, I don't think the Steelers are going to actually fire him. I don't think they have the balls to fire him. I think they're going to just do nothing and see what he does, to be honest with you. But like, you can't continue to operate at this level of just mediocrity and, you know, going barely scraping into the playoffs and then going one and done in the playoffs in the wild card round or the divisional round. So I would like to see a massive overhaul next season, but I don't think it's the Steelers' way. I think they do things piecemeal. They do things bit by bit. And like, that's just not proof that it's just not working right now. So look, we'll see how this season goes, Paul, and then hopefully 2026 brings brighter days.
Brings some change. I suppose almost that you mentioned that mediocrity, that just kind of middle ground is the worst place to live in the NFL, because it just does not give you the opportunity to get better. You just spin your wheels, and that's certainly been the case, it's felt like, for the last 6-7 years for the Steelers. And let's talk about Monday's game, Jimmy. Details have Monday Night Football offering this week. Miami are coming to town. Steelers, we've got some headlines now for our game. So Steel City splash.
I like
down.
that.
Miami in for frigid night in Pittsburgh. It's due to be a cold one on Monday night. Dolphins look to continue hot streak and put a freeze on Steelers' path in division. Pittsburgh are in charge of the AFC North again and look to grip path to the playoffs. As you mentioned, Steelers are favourites in this one, and we've seen them time and time again play down in these spots where they're expected to take care of business, are the places where they tend to slip up. How do you feel the game on Monday night is going to go, and what are the key matchups for you, Jimmy, in this one for Pittsburgh to get the win?
Yeah, I think they need to continue on the momentum from Baltimore. I mean, they obviously that was on the road. They were away from Acrisure, but the last time they played at home was against the Bills, and we saw what Josh Allen and James Cook did to the Steelers, rushing for a historic high. I think it was the most rushing yards ever given up at Acrisure Stadium, or Heinz Field as it once was known. Josh Allen rushing for a career high, or a league leading, or historic, 70 rushing yards or 72 rushing touchdowns. Apologies. So I think the biggest thing here is going to be shut down the run, bottle up the run. Devon A-Chain coming in as the league's third best running back. He's over 1,100 yards for the season, 7 touchdowns. He's having a kind of a breakout season in his third year. So that's going to be a massive. I mean, like I said earlier, we shut down Jonathan Taylor when the Colts came to town, and he's kind of gone quiet now to a little bit in the past couple of weeks. Because teams have figured out if you shut down Jonathan Taylor, you take away the Colts offense. And I think if you shut down Devon A-Chain and you force Tua to pass, you put the pressure on him, he's going to make mistakes, right? He's going to throw an interception. He's going to try and do something silly. I think as well, the pass rush needs to be a lot better. They've had a good enough season, but I think we only had the 1 sack against Lamar Jackson last week, and that was Alex Highsmith to close out the game when Jackson was scrambling for that first down as time expired. So defense needs to play a lot better than they have been playing. Making some good splash plays every game, which is good to see. Brandon Eccles has been playing out of his shoes the past couple of weeks. So definitely want to see that continue on as well. And then offensively, I just think at this stage of the season, right? I mean, we signed Adam Thielen, and that's that's desperation. If you're signing Adam Thielen to be your number 2 wide receiver, that just stinks of desperation. He's gonna be gone by the end of the season. I know he won't be there longer than the rest of the 2025 season. So just DK Metcalf obviously had some, some good hookups from Aaron Rodgers there. So I'd like to see that continue. If Aaron Rodgers can kind of build on that performance from last week, kind of rewind the clock and relive his glory days. I do like the playoff beard he's growing right now. That it definitely gives him a kind of a grizzly veteran look. So he's playing with a bit of an edge as well, which I think the Steelers need. They need some sort of spark from their leader. But like you're never too far away, I don't think, from a complete meltdown either, to be perfectly honest with you. So it just depends on what version of the Steelers show up on Monday night, right? If it's going to be the good Steelers or the bad Steelers, it's just I'll tell you one thing, I will not be staying up to watch it, put it that way, because it's 1:15 in the morning here, and I'm too old for that kind of stuff. So I'll be obviously watching it back in the zone on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was good to see last week from the Steelers. We'd gone from kind of almost like a full month of where they didn't have any sort of explosive pass play or a pass play completed 20 plus yards down the field. Yeah. And I think Rodgers hit 5 on Sunday against the Ravens. How important is that to have that threat in the offense? Because there are, obviously, DK can have the big plays, Calvin Austin can have the big plays. How important is that to keep that, I suppose, offense ticking along by having those chunk plays?
That's huge. It's huge. I mean, Aaron Rodgers' first play against the Ravens was a 50-yard bomb down the sideline on a rope to DK Metcalf, and it keeps the defense off balance, right? Because if defenses know that they can shut down the run and limit the Steelers to dink and duck and short yardage, then it completely takes away any sort of threat from the offense. So to have the confidence to go for those go balls and those deep balls and know you're gonna connect with your receivers, it's so important because it just brings an added dimension to the offense. So look, I just hope they can keep doing what they've been doing and kind of get a bit of momentum going now, get some wins stacked up, and then keep the AFC North division lead and get into the playoffs. And who knows? Look, if we can win one playoff game, it'll be a lot better than previous years. But no, they just need a complete team performance, I think.
Yeah. And we'll see if they can get the job done on Monday night at home to the Dolphins. Jimmy, you're going to take on our fourfold challenge to finish off this segment. How are you feeling about giving it a go? It's obviously going to be looking to hit one favourite, one underdog, one over, one under from the NFL Week 15 slate. It's been mixed bag. I've been terrible at this all season long. I just can't seem to get a win anywhere. But yeah, how are you feeling about taking on the fourfold challenge?
So I can definitely pick my underdog and favourite, Paul. In terms of NFL betting lines, I don't really have the expertise, but I will give it my best shot. And if you have some visual aids there you can pull up on the screen, they'd be very useful.
Absolutely. We'll do that for you now, Jimmy. We will share the Bet365 page. You've got your favourite and you've got your underdog that you're fairly comfortable with. Shall we start there then? Who's your favourite of the week, Jimmy?
So I'm going, obviously, a bit of an obvious one here. I'm going with the Patriots to beat the Bills. I think the Bills' reign of dominance is over in the AFC East. I just think the Patriots and the Drake May-led Patriots they've been playing so well so far this season. I think they're just on a kind of they're destined to reach the Super Bowl this season. I think it's their time. Obviously, the Bills have they've had ups and downs a bit like the Steelers this season. Obviously, they're in a much better position or playing a lot better than the Steelers. But I just think that it's Drake May's time. I think the Bills' kind of window for Super Bowl has closed, and definitely fancy the Patriots over the Bills.
So it feels like that would pretty much. I think it will. Where we for 4 weeks, I think 3 games clear with 4 to go. So that would get the AFC East all sewn up this week. So, which
if you think about it, it's kind of crazy how you look back and the Patriots beating the Bills back in the start of the season was classed in as an upset. And whereas now, I mean, some people are saying that the Bills are the favorites. I just don't see it at all. I just think the Patriots have that. Drake May has that X factor about him this year. I just think they're on a roll, and I think they can finish the job.
Excellent, cool. We'll see if they can get the t-shirts and hats out this week by getting that win over Buffalo and securing the AFC East. Cool. So the New England Patriots then will add to you to the card. Who's your underdog then? Who are you liking to maybe pull off a bit of an upset this week, Jimmy?
My underdog this week is the Denver Broncos. Again, they're going against the Packers. I fancy the Packers in this one. I think that the Packers they're having a late season kind of resurgence. They were a bit shaky during the middle of the season, but just seeing them beat the Bears there last week, that was a great game in the NFC North. And I think the Packers now have a bit more confidence about them. Some of their kind of key receivers are back, and they're playing at a very, very high level. Obviously, they bet the Lions there on Thanksgiving as well. I think that was a kind of turning point for the Packers. The Broncos. I mean, I think the Broncos are they're 11-2 at this stage, whatever their record is, and I think everyone loves the Broncos, but I just don't think they've been playing consistently. I think the quarterback issues with Bo Nix. He doesn't really get hot until the third or fourth quarter. And I just think against this Packers defense, if they can rattle them early on with Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, and a very, very good secondary as well. We saw them obviously picking off Caleb Williams there with 30 seconds to go against the Bears. So I just think that the Broncos are definitely an underdog against the Packers this weekend.
Yeah. Well, okay. So yes, you like the Packers in that one. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. We're blessed again with a lot of good games.
Yes,
this week.
I mean, it's the best time of year with the divisional games and so many permutations and games that matter so much. I mean, we thought Week 14 was good. Week 15 is even better in terms of games that count towards the final standings.
Yeah, going to be some great ones. So we've got your favourite, we've got your underdog in. Let's get our totals in. So yeah, we're after 1 under, 1 over. Do you want to start with your under first? So where do you think it might be a bit of a struggle for points this week, Jimmy, on the slate? So Jimmy, we've got your favourite and your underdog. Let's have a look then for your over and under this week. Where do you think there might be a bit of a struggle for points this week then, based on the matchups
So
on the slate?
I'm looking at the Lions and Rams, right? This is two high scoring offenses, obviously two really, really high firepower offense. You look at the weapons that are in Los Angeles, Devontae Adams, and then you look at the weapons that are in Detroit with Amon-Ra St. Brown and the running backs they have there. The over under is 55. I think I think even though there is that firepower there, I think no. Do you know what? I can see it happening. I'm gonna go with the over 55 points in this.
Over for that. Yeah, and these games can be real fun. Like this, like I say, we saw Bengals Bills last week. Similar sort of thing. You've got all those weapons on offense, both sides, and yeah, whether the defenses are good or not, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are going to find ways to score. I agree with you. I think that's going to be exactly the same in this one with the Lions and all those weapons and the Rams and how they've been rolling. We saw the Rams put 45 points on the Cardinals last week. I think this could just be a basketball game, just going up and down the field. Just scoring points.
But by the way, as well, I know this is not part of the segment. If you're looking for my official Super Bowl prediction, I'm going Rams Patriots, a rematch of that one from a couple of years ago. So that's where I'm leading to right now. Yeah,
nice. And hopefully we get better than the 13-10.
13-10, yeah.
13-7 or whatever we got. Then I'm sure it will be a very different game this time around. That would be, I wouldn't. I'd take that as a good Super Bowl.
Be a great game.
It would be a great game. Cool. So we've got your over then. That's Lions Rams over the 55. Where do you think then? So let's find this under then. Where do you think it might be a bit more of a struggle for points this week?
I'm looking at Giants Commanders at 6:00 on Sunday, and I just don't think Marcus Mariota is going to be in a quarterback for the Commanders. And I saw him play in Washington, in Madrid there a few weeks ago. Obviously, look, he did his best, but it just feels like the Commanders have no real weapons right now, and they've kind of lost their way. We saw obviously Jaden Daniels come back in there last week and got crunched again. And then you look at the Giants. They're playing with practice squad wide receivers, and they lost their star in both Scadaboo. So I think this could be a very, very low scoring game. I was initially going to go with the Jets and the Jaguars, but then I saw how Trevor Lawrence played last week, and I was like, I think I might switch my pick. So No, I think my under is going to be Commanders Giants.
No, I think that's a decent shout. Yeah, we can see you don't know what you're going to get from the Giants, do you? From explosiveness or just turgid offensive play, and then the Commanders just feel like real bad vibes team at the minute. The Commanders shut out last week,
which is a shame when you consider they reached their first playoff since 1991 last year with Jaden Daniels, and look at they've gone this year. So it's just it's a shame really.
Yeah, just goes to show, isn't it, that it's so hard to consistently win in the NFL. One game away from the Super Bowl last year and 4 wins, or 3 or 4 wins this year, and it's been a real struggle for them. So interesting to see what happens there with Dan Quinn and turnover of that squad, etc. But we'll see how that. So we've got the Patriots, Packers. That's right, isn't it? Patriots, Packers.
Yes, indeed.
Rams, Lions, and Commanders, Giants for the under. Cool. Best of luck with it, Jimmy. We will see how good that fourfold is. Jimmy, we appreciate you coming back on and being part of our show as always. So thank you very much for taking part in our preview this week. Just give us a shout out again. Where can we find and where can we follow everything to do with Gaelic Gridiron?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. We are there. I got business cards made recently, Paul, and I put all the little icons down the bottom. So we are literally everywhere. So I might have to go and put a little accumulator on now on Paddy Power now this evening, just to see out of curiosity if it comes through.
Yeah, that'd be the thing if you don't and it comes in. Like if you don't, it comes in, you'll be like, oh no. But yeah, it's 12-1. Yeah, it's a 12-1 bet. So like I say, a few euros on it, and you're right. Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be a good hit. Jimmy, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the season. Hopefully, we'll see you out at the Super Bowl. I say we're not going, but hopefully, we'll see you there. Hopefully, we'll see you there. And have a great time. And best of luck to the Steelers the rest of the way as well, Jimmy.
Cheers, Paul.
Thanks to Jimmy there. Make sure you go following Gaelic Gridiron for all the fantastic content that Jimmy and co are producing. And let's get into the rest of our bets for Monday Night Football. You've heard me and Jimmy preview the game. I'm going to go under 41.5 on this one. I know Tua broke his not getting a win in cold weather thing, but it's going to be fucking freezing in Pittsburgh. So I'm expecting just a low-scoring game. I'm expecting it close. I'm saying Steelers did have they found something offensively last week. They got the play, some explosive plays that we've not really seen. They've not put offensive performances together in back-to-back weeks at any point. So kind of think they might regress a little bit. TJ Watt hospitalized on Wednesday with a lung issue as well. So maybe I should have flipped because maybe the Dolphins might have more joy. We know TJ Watt. I just think it's going to be a bit of a turgid, rough game. Again, maybe this one shouldn't be on prime time at this late stage of the season. Dolphins, I don't know. Are they going to sneak in the back door? Probably not. Steelers need to win, of course, for the AFC North. Under 41.5 now. I think this might be a real bad game. Byron?
Yeah, I've gone Kenneth Gainwell, 25 plus receiving yards. Aaron Rodgers loves Kenneth Gainwell in the passing game. It is so surprising. He has in the last 4 weeks, he has an 18% target share. He has the second most running back receiving yards in the league in the last 4 weeks. His last 4 weeks, he's gone 81, 30, 25, 27 with a ton of targets in there. 8, 6, 3, 7. So about 24, 6 a week. 25 receiving yards at 11-10. Yeah, gimme. Rodgers absolutely loves him. He's scheming him open as well. Like, he's giving him them layup touches. Not what I anticipated being Kenny Gainwell's role, but he's doing well with it. So, 11-10 for Kenneth Gainwell. 25 plus receiving yards, please.
Excellent. And Joe?
You're on mute.
I've got Jalen Wright, anytime touchdown scorer for 3-1 for the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have certainly moved away from Tua throwing a lot. He hasn't thrown over 200 yards in the last 4 games. And they actually, I think, obviously, Achan's the number 1 back, and he seems like he's going to be back. But Jalen Wright showed something last week against the Jets. He ran for over 100 yards. So I think they might feed him. I think I'm similar to you, Paul. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be -7, and they're just going to keep the ball on the ground because, I think they're going to want to waste time because that defense for the Dolphins actually has been stepping up. I think we talked about in the review the last 4 games. They haven't conceded more than 17 points. So I think they're going to try and keep it close, and just run all over the Steelers defense, which we saw prior to the Ravens game that teams could do that. And like you said, if TJ Watt's out as well, I think the Dolphins will be able to do that. So yeah, Jalen Wright anytime touchdown score 3-1.
Excellent. Right, let's head to our fourfold challenge. Joe got absolutely boned last week. If you listen to the review, you will. I just felt
that was the first hour of the podcast.
Yeah, you know what? Jad had been the same. It was a disgrace. It was an absolute disgrace. It really was.
If I was not fired at the end of this year, then it's been an investigation.
The Raiders kicking that field goal, and the refs helped him a bit as well. Like it was just bullshit. I think that for our power rankings, I didn't move the Broncos up just on the basis that they let the Raiders cover. Yeah, just disgusting. Anybody who was on the Broncos -8 or -8.5, wherever it ended up being, yeah. Oh, I think you got some. Anyway, back -7.5 to -8.5, where it flip flop. Just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And yeah, that stopped you from a third fourfold challenge win. Desperate times for your boy. 6 behind Byron in the fourfold, and this is a bit obviously winning's great, Joe, but this one is very much about not losing due to the forfeit. But Joe, you're 4 clear of Byron, and I'm level tied with the guest. Of course, you just heard Jimmy's picks. I also forgot that I was up first.
You're doing a great job of vamping.
I'm gonna go. Give me, and they'll probably just, after turning round and performances have been better, they'll probably just turn around and give me a big fuck you this week. I'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars with the massive -13 points. I feel like we've got 4 10-plus point favorite. Well, in fact, 4 11-plus point favorites this week. So I feel a lot of them aren't going to cover, but I like the way the Jaguars have been moving. Maybe the Jets will have a bit of a bounce back after, because they were just awful against the Dolphins last week. And that game was in essence over after about 8 or 9 minutes. So I'm kind of thinking the Jags, are going to, they've had their run of messing around now. And yeah, I think they're going to take care of business this week against the rancid New York Jets. Are they trotting out Brady Cook?
I believe so. Taylor and Fields not seen at practice yet this week.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think Justin Fields plays for them again. So.
No, yeah, I'm good with that then. That's fine. And how often do we think the Jacksonville Jaguars have been 13-point favorites?
6.
Was that just a guess?
That is just a guess. Yeah, absolutely no insight. I might look it up while you're talking, but yeah, I have no idea. I'm just guessing 6.
I'll do that while you're doing that. They've been home favorites 8 times and gone 8-0. But only 4-3-1 against the spread.
There we go.
That's the key number. Joe.
Yeah, talking about big spreads and home teams and random quarterbacks playing for the opposition.
Yeah.
Let's go to Seahawks -13.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not quite sure if he's not been announced yet. Phil Rivers is going to be the starter with Leonard being questionable. But yeah, if Rivers plays it, old man Rivers, 44 years old, against probably the best not the best defense, but one of the best defenses, probably certainly in the top 3 or 4 away in Seattle. It's I'll be impressed if he gets out of Seattle without being stretched out. To be honest, at 44 years old again, when Williams is absolutely destroying him. So the Seahawks 13.5. I think they're just going to get up big. This Colts team's not been great without great quarterback play. I think the overall team is starting to slip, and I think this is going to be an embarrassing week, especially if Rivers plays, because it's one thing Joe Flacco going from one team to another and performing. It's another thing from someone not playing for 4 years. I think he's not played, coming off, and apparently in training camp this week they were saying his accuracy is decent, but his physique, his physical aspects is holding him back, and I'm guessing he's going to hold him back against the Seattle team as well. Where I'll be surprised if he's able to move out the pocket even an inch. So yeah, let's go Seattle 13.5.
At what point in the last maybe 15 years of Phil Rivers' career did he ever move out of the pocket?
That's what he said when someone said, "What's your weight?" And he was like, "I've no idea, but I didn't run away from people anyway." So
he's not been running away from any food either. Look, he is definitely packed on the timber. Yeah.
just to move away from the Philip Rivers of it all, even if this is Riley Leonard, you're happy with it, Joe, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're not expecting Riley Leonard to go into Seattle and put up much. So either way, it's a smash.
Fully expecting it to be Rivers based on what I've seen this afternoon. It is going to be Phil Rivers.
Yeah. And just talk about, we talked about the rookie, Nick Emamori, at the review. He is if you double his age, he's still younger than Phil Rivers. He was, when he was born, Phil Rivers was just coming into the league. So that's the difference between these kind of players. So
if it was Nick Emanturi.
Exactly.
Just the last one. I know you guys thought I was potentially joking when I dropped it in the group chat that he is a grandfather. He is a grandfather.
I believe he's going to be the first granddad to take an NFL snap since Brett Favre for the Vikings.
There we go.
Fun fact.
Byron, you're up.
Yeah, I am going to take. I'm kind of stunned there. An underdog. So I'm going to take the underdog Cincinnati Bengals plus 2.5 hosting the Baltimore Ravens, who they just beat on the road 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm missing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, the thing I'm missing is that we're all on the Bengals, so F you, Byron, you just picked a loser. That's what I'm missing, but surely. Joe Burrow, another week fresher, another week fitter. T. Higgins is practicing and seems like he might play after 2 concussions in 3 weeks. Okay, I don't think they value your long-term health, T, but you get paid plenty for them to not concern your long-term health, I guess. The life of an NFL player. And I will take, if you're going to give me the best offense in football as an over under 38.5, I'm going to take the over. The Philadelphia Eagles, 38.5 against Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. Give me the over 38.5. Raiders, Eagles, please. I am being flippant, obviously, about the best offense in football, but 38.5 is a low number for a team that can score points. And surely they get right this week. We say every single week, but surely.
Well, I think it's just to playing the Raiders, so I had that one there. I feel like the Eagles, and they've got something to prove as well. It feels like the Eagles could easily score 40 points this game just because how bad the Raiders are.
I think this might be a struggle. I think it's more hoping as well for Office Mounties. I think the Eagles are absolutely shot.
My concern was, I've been saying they're terrible for like most of the season, truthfully. Even when they were 4-0, I struggled with them. I just think a game like last week highlights things almost too much because turnovers are so impactful. Like, they're not going to have 5 turnovers again next week. Jalen Hurts isn't going to have 2 turnovers in one play again this week. It's just not going to happen. So, like, I just think 30.5 such a low number for like, and the Raiders aren't toast on offense. Like, they can score some points. So yeah, give me that as an over anyway.
I had to watch them. So I didn't watch the game because I was away with work, but I had to watch that clip so many times. I just could not believe what I could not believe.
It was wild watching it live because I think I had both defenses in fantasy game day or DraftKings over here, and it was just like, okay, I might just win it just by having both defenses because like every drive is ended in a turnover or kick. It felt like vintage Thursday night football, but it was on Monday night football between 2 8-4 teams. It was very peculiar.
Yeah, that was the Monsters Inc. game, right?
Yes, yeah.
And
that play broke Monsters Inc. as well.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but like after the first fumble, it just zoomed in on a player and just kind of stopped recording.
It's just not like programmed for 3 turnovers.
Yeah,
the animation. Yeah, no doubt about it. Right, Joe.
Yeah, I was hoping that over would still be there. I'm going to take my under. There's a few to choose from this week, but I'm going to go the best defense in the league against a pro team. Cardinals and Texans under 42.5. I think the Cardinals have dropped off a cliff, and I don't think they're going to score too much against this Texans defense who proved against the Chiefs why they're the best defense. And the Texans offense is average, and that's all they need to be. So I can't see them blowing away that Cardinals. I think they'll get mid-20s, and Cardinals will get maybe single digits. So I think it's going to be a relative low-scoring game in Texas.
Cool. I'm going to take underdog, and we just talked about them a little bit. I'm going to take Los Angeles Chargers. Have I missed something? Why are they 5.5 point underdogs? Again, this should probably mean I should go the Chiefs, but 5.5. That seems a lot given where we're at.
Oh, you're confused the other way. You shouldn't there be more.
No, I think there should be significantly less than 5.5.
Well, you've took the Chargers on ATS.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. So something stinks usually, and I usually go the other way, but I'm going to stick with it. The Chargers. Something just doesn't feel right about 5.5, 2.5, maybe 1.5.
I'm guessing because the quarterback's got a broken hand and he got pressured like 80% of the time against an Eagles team.
Yeah, he didn't have a great game one day, did he? Yeah.
Well, I think he had a great game because the offensive line was absolutely shocking, and him escaping.
Well, he had an incredible game. Yeah.
The only one because the offense turned it over nonstop and were just as bad. So, but I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I've got the Chiefs. I'm just throwing out a bet here as well. I've got the Chiefs to make the playoffs at 5-1. When you actually look, they obviously need to win out. They've got the Chargers. I think they've got the Raiders, Titans, and the Broncos. That's obviously big. They need the Chargers to obviously lose this game, lose against the Broncos, and then lose one of their other games. And I believe they've got it's pretty tough schedule for the Chargers. I think they've got. Sorry, I'm just rambling here.
Got the Cowboys next week, I think.
Yeah, they got Cowboys and Texans, so they need to lose one of them plus against the Chiefs and Broncos, and they need either the Ravens and Dolphins not to win out. And I don't think both teams are going to win out, so they've still got 12% chance to make the playoffs. So I'm backing them at 5-1 just to sneak it in, and probably be in the Super Bowl, just how the Chiefs normally are. And we start
see nobody wants to see
exactly. Yeah. Winning it from the 7th.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Chargers. So Chargers have covered on 4 of their last 5 visits to Kansas, and also the unders hit in four in a row in these games. Chargers, Chiefs games. Kansas. I'm expecting it to be close. I'm expecting it to be low scoring. So I'm gonna take the 5.5. Cool. I was looking at that as my under, but I'm not doubling up. I will take over. Give me the Browns and the Bears. Shadur can do enough. And again, I mention quite often that Browns defense isn't anywhere near the same on the road. Bears were good last week, I thought. Particularly offense. They were right there with the Packers. I thought they played really well. Can kill you on the ground. That's what you need in kind of December, late December, mid-December, January football. You can run the ball. But yeah, 39. I'm going to go the over. I know it's expected to be freezing at Soldier Field. I think minus 13, 14 or something it was projected to be. But I'm going to go Browns, Bears. And with these low totals and maybe, especially like a quarterback only starting his 3rd or 4th game or whatever, you get just like the crazy plays as well. So, yeah, maybe only needs one of them to help get you the over.
Just never mind, minus 13, minus 29 Celsius it's going to be.
Sorry.
Plus wind chill. So, yeah, it's going to be a rapid warm if you go into that game. Yeah, it's
okay.
Going to be a brutal one. Midwest.
Joe, you need a underdog and an over.
Yeah, I really want to go Thursday night football with my over, but I hate going Thursday night football. So I'm going to switch and go for Sunday night football. I'm going to go over Vikings, Cowboys, 47.5. I think they've both got. I think Cowboys have got a great offense, and they've still got weaknesses in the defense, which I think Vikings could get some points. But I think I was tempted to go with Cowboys favourites as well. I think they're going to put a good 30 on this Vikings team. Yeah, 47.5.
Excellent. Byron, you need a favourite and an under.
I do. I'm struggling with the under, but I have to take one of them here, don't I? I'm going to take under 42.5, old man Phillip Rivers heading into Seattle. Hopefully when the game gets, slowed down at halftime to cart Phil Rivers out, they just think, what's the point in scoring more points? It's already 21-0. Let's just both kneel it out.
He's already dead. Leave him alone.
Yeah, and they'll have Peyton Manning back there next week. So, yeah, good luck to Indianapolis in Seattle, but I don't think
I'm rooting for him. I'm hoping. I think he's going to make.
I'd love him to put up a massive game.
He's still got it. Yeah, good on him.
Do you know who? I was looking this up earlier. Do you know who the last quarterbacks play for the Colts who's had a Pro Bowl is before Phil Rivers? Because Danny Dimes never had one.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to have it on the Colts, but
no, yeah, okay. So before Phil Rivers, or since Phil Rivers, sorry. Yeah.
Well, Phil Rivers is the newest one because he's just joined today.
Got it.
Well, this week.
Wentz? No.
No, there's one more recent than Wentz. I think there's actually two more. I think there's three more recent than Wentz, actually.
No, it was Matt Ryan before or after?
After, but there's one more recent than Matt Ryan as well.
I'm just working through it now, just trying.
I'm impressed you got these names, though, to be fair. I was working backwards.
Jacoby's not got one. Jacoby's not
Jacoby
got one.
Brissett.
I don't think Jacoby Brissett got one, and you're looking more recent.
All right, I'm done. I can't remember the old man that they ran for.
Gardner Minshew!
Gardner Minshew!
Who actually got one in Indianapolis, which surprised me because I thought the answer was going to be Matt Ryan. Because I looked and Joe Flacco has never had a Pro Bowl.
That's
kind of weird. I was like, Dimes hasn't got one. Joe Flacco hasn't had one. Is Phil Rivers the last one? And I was like, oh no, Matt Ryan will have one. And then, yeah, Gardner Minshew got one in 23. And I thought that was a fun little nugget for us all there. And my favorite to cover this week is the San Francisco 49ers coming off a bye, 12.5 points at home against the Titans. And I think they're going to rip the Titans apart, truthfully. Titans got their big win last week. And I think Niners, again, coming off the bye, hopefully a little fitter because it's been such a brutal season for the 49ers. Maybe try and push CMC into Offensive Player of the Year category, maybe. But yeah, I think this is a smash 'em game, essentially. Just 30 points, maybe.
Right. Excellent. Joe, your dog?
Yeah. I'm going to stick with it. It's probably a bad idea that we've all gone. I'm going to go the Dolphins plus 3.5. I think they'll win in that on Monday Night Football. So yeah, Dolphins.
I did love your stat earlier saying that Tua hasn't thrown for over 200 yards in 4 games, and the Dolphins are 4-0. I hadn't realised the Tua connection in all of that, but that made me laugh quite a lot.
Excellent. Well, Dolphins have covered on their last 3 visits to Pittsburgh.
There you go.
There you go. Excellent. All right, I'll finish this up. I'm going to go that Titans-Niners game as well. I'm going to go under whatever it is, 44. Is it 44? 44.5. Under 44.5. Weirdly, I don't know. I do not why. I honestly don't know why I put the Titans as. I've got Titans ATS. Makes no sense. You're right. They got the big win last week. The Niners are going to kill them. Yeah, I'm guessing maybe the Titans don't get to 10. I don't know what I was thinking. Having the Titans on ATS, I had just been seeing just all those huge numbers and was like, oh, I better put a couple of them into cover for the ATS purposes. Yeah, that's that. So anyway, there are our 4 folds, 12-1 shots. Hopefully we'll get some winners this week. And along with Jimmy's, you just heard it, but he's got the Packers. Packers is his favourite. Patriots is his underdog. Over in Lions, Rams, and under in Commanders, Giants, which I think might have been the better pick for me there, to be fair. That game, I feel, is probably going to be rancid. Let's head to our ATS picks then. Let's probably touch on what we've not talked about too much. Yeah, obviously we've got Thursday Night Football. That's in the books now, but me and Joe were on the Falcons, taking the points and the books. Mike Evans, I think, McMillan back, so maybe they're for a better week of it this week, the books. Me and Byron on the Bears. Joe, you like the Browns to cover against the Bears?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, the weather, I think it's going to be a tight game. I think Shadur's played better. You know, Byron told us that. I think I may have told you as well. The Bears defense, they're either boom or bust. So I think they can do. I think Browns can do something against this team. And I think coming off that like big loss against the Packers, going to something like having the Bears, that like there might be the complacency of like, oh, we should easily win this and move on to next week. Where this could be like a trap game, and 7.5 is quite a lot. Where it could be a low scoring game. And I think the Browns defense is so up and down that it could be an up game. And Myles Garrett gets a bit closer to that record. 3 to go.
Yeah, record watch. All of us are on the Bengals, so as you're right, quite rightly pointing out, Byron, the Ravens win and cover. Just me on the Chargers, just Byron on the Patriots, just me on the Washington Commanders. Obviously, we talk about this. I don't think Jaden Daniels should have been in that game anyway, and it's going to be Marcus Mariota this week. Also, I don't know if it's just obviously just the coincidence of having it. They should not have released that mic'd up stuff from Zach Ertz. Nobody needs to hear him crying like that. Hopefully, that's not him done. I know it's tough 35 and horrific injury like that, but it'd be sad to see him go out that way because he's been such a great player. Yeah, mute Byron.
Absolutely, yeah. 5th all time in tight end receptions. Great career.
He's been fantastic. He's had a really good season as well, I think. Individually. But yeah, just me on that, used to. Just me on the Raiders. Again, more in hope. Couldn't they pull off the upset of all upsets?
Kick a field goal when they're 14 points down.
Yeah, do that. Backdoor cover all day.
As long as it gets the over.
Yeah. But yeah, the Eagles are fundamentally broken, and I think they'll win. I think they'll win comfortably. But a comfortable win for the Eagles at the minute would be like 10 points. So I'm going to take the plus 11.5. All of us on the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's 13-point favorites. Just me on the Cardinals. That was another where I just thought it's a big number. I need to take some more of the big numbers. Texans obviously great win on Sunday Night Football. They seem to be rolling. But again, you know what? The offense is capable of putting up an absolute dud. And you know what? I know they've taken some beatings recently, but the Cardinals have been frisky, I'll say.
Jacoby ain't going to stop slinging it.
Yeah. He might get broken in this one. Broncos Packers, we've not touched on this game at all. This is probably the other biggest game of the week. What do we make of this one? I've taken the Broncos on the points. 2 points. You two have gone the Packers. What makes you think the Packers are going to get it done in Denver?
It's not a super strong feeling. I just think the Packers have a higher ceiling than the Broncos do. A lot of these games are just like, how did the Broncos win this game? Like, why did the Broncos win this game? And yeah, I just can't really shake that. And I just think being burned on the other side with it by the Packers a lot this season as well. But ultimately, I see the Packers and it's like, this is a team I think can win the Super Bowl. I don't see that in the Broncos as well as they've played. So yeah, just give me the 2 points is basically enough of a coin flip that I'm just picking the team I think is better.
Yeah, I think I did the same. I think I was just like, which team do I think is going to win this game? I think the Packers are going to sneak it, but if it's by one, it is what it is. But yeah, that was the only reason. I think it's going to be a tight one. I think it could be a low-scoring game. And yes, again, it's for both teams. They're both great for that number one seed in their respective conference, so it's huge for both. So we'll see who can come out of it.
Excellent. Yeah, it's discussed earlier. Me and Byron on the Rams and Joe on the Lions. I've taken the New Orleans Saints plus the 2.5. Tyler Shook was real good last week. I was real impressed with him. That had a really, really good game. So did more with his legs. He is doing a good job of keeping the football safe and actually just taking what teams are giving him. And I think when you're coming in like that as a rookie, even if you're nearly 30, and there's probably just your real safe way to do it. I think the Saints comfortably beat the Panthers on the road. It was by 7, but performance-wise, comfortably beat the Panthers only a few weeks ago. I know the Panthers are on a bye. Potentially, depending how Thursday Night Football goes, could have a bit of pep in the step in terms of trying to get this NFC South. I think the Saints are going to play spoiler here and pull out another win. Titans, Niners, discussed that probably good for you, Joe, that I've left the Titans in there, to be fair. Given kind of how it's gone. All of us are on the Seattle Seahawks, and I've taken the Vikings ATS on Sunday night, and all on the Dolphins, which is good for Jimmy and his Pittsburgh Steelers. Excellent, that's it. That's us week 15 in the books. I'm starting to feel sad that we've not got many of these preview shows left, which is just insane at this point. But thanks to Jimmy again for joining us. Go follow Gaelic Gridiron. We'll be back tomorrow with our Fantasy Game Day Week 15 preview. We'll get our top tips. And make sure you're following at Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover over on all of the podcast feeds, Spotify, Apple Music. What are the rest of them? Podbean and Overcast. And also YouTube for the video version. And at GTW_GTC on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And we'll see you tomorrow with our Fantasy Game Day top tips.